We're ready. Rolling.
All right, so, Mr. City Clerk, sir.
Okay, first budget item I have is 1010 Common Council. There are no changes, there's nothing there to cut. It's essentially the same. 1450 elections. 3 years ago or so, we cut down the number of election districts from 19 to 8, saving the city a ton of money. Our share to Warren County remains at $12,000. City clerk, which is 1410. Personal services, we're down from this year. Wayne Wright stepped down from full-time back in May. Wayne is working part-time in records management and city historian only, so that freed up some money from the personal services side. Other supplies, 4437, we're holding steady with that. We had state mandated safety paper that we use for all of our vital records, and our supplier on Corinth Road went out of business. We found a new source out of South Glens Falls with actually basically the same pricing, so we're good there. Tomorrow we are supposed to get a new Canon copier. I think Debbie Vaughn emailed the council at one of the last meetings explaining the cost structure on that. It's good for our office. I think we actually saved a couple of bucks on a new copier. And copiers are basically what we've seen over the years. 5 years is as long as you're going to have a decent copier. After you reach that point, breakdown start and maintenance. So this is a good time to move on to that. Contractual budget item amounts are pretty well consistent with, I say last year, 2020 this year. A11988 legal advertising, I'd just like to leave that in as the same amount for 2020, $6,500.
That was my question. I didn't know if we've got anything down the road.
It's hard to predict. The only thing we can do is see any trends after a couple of months or something. A11670 Central Mail. Mailings made easy. The business was sold a month and a half ago. They transitioned to another company, Center for Disability Services out of Albany. I haven't seen a contract yet. We're getting bills from them, but I'm hopeful Debbie Vaughn and I will look at that to see that the impact is about the same. No real changes for us in terms of the mail procedure. The clerk's office is involved a little more than it had been. Mailings made easy was very good to us. We've handled regular daily mail. Clerk's office picks it up, gives it to the carrier. We had some tax bills from the controller's office 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the water sewer bills. We're able to bundle those and get them out to the carrier. All mail goes to Albany. Doesn't go to Glens Falls, goes to Albany, and then it's sorted, and then it comes back here. So, that's the process, but it was the process under Mailings Made Easy.
Been that way for years.
Yeah.
And ever since John Collins stopped being the postmaster, and Glens Falls stopped being the regional center. All the equipment that was regionally sorting all that mail is sitting unused in Glens Falls.
Yeah, because they have better machines down there. It sorts that. We had machines here, but they weren't as good as the ones down there.
They're in that building over there? Yep.
And we told all the departments, if you do have something that's priority, try to think ahead a little bit to get that out quicker than you would normally like. Traffic violations, 23130. This is tough predicting because of the COVID situation this year. Revenue's been down for 2020, driving parking tickets for obvious reasons. So it's hard to compare what's happened here and try to predict for next year. But as compared to 2019, we're down a little bit. So I'm going to budget, I'd like to budget $21,900 for 2021, hopefully we will get some of that revenue stream back. If things go back to normal at some point in 2021, more people will be parking out in the streets and
Illegally, we got to hope.
and Tony will write parking tickets for them. But it's hard to tell, you know, how things are going there. A23510, control of dogs. No real changes are anticipated in general fees or in contract services for that. So I think we're in pretty good shape for that. 11462 is records management. Some minor changes in that. Wayne Wright had a little bit of records management funding through the years. Now he's working 12 hours per week in records management. So, and that was per a contractual agreement with the mayor. The mayor signed Wayne would work 12 hours per week in records management and 4 hours tops as city historian. So that's reflected in the budget. And we did just about a 10% cut in there, cut back on some supplies and so forth. So I think we're pretty steady on that. City historian, Wayne does, 7510, we cut back on some purchases of supplies, books and periodicals. The mayor's office wanted some cuts in the budgets, and we did that. Wayne gets, I think, $2,400 a year in city historian. So this works out pretty well for us. Wayne is there 2 days of the week. He handles records management. He's, worked with the mayor on some projects. He's clearing out the community development office of some records in there, and we have a lot to do. We still have to get training for Casey in our office to do laserfiche for our vital records and so forth, but we've got the time to work on that, so I'm pretty happy with that. And that is about all that I have. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Bob, you've been a wonderful steward over the years of the city funds, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anyone have any questions?
I don't know if you were aware, but Mr. Curtis
Yeah, thank you.
is being honored as the Rotarian Citizen of the Year.
Ah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
For you.
I said to the mayor, I better stay out of trouble for a while. I also, Gordon Woodward came over to tell me, and as he was talking, Gordon left, and I thought, does he have the right Robert Curtis? Because there are other Robert Curtises.
You probably missed a meeting. You got nominated when you missed a meeting, and that's where you go.
So,
That's excellent.
That is awesome.
Yes, yeah.
thank you.
Well
Unsung
deserved.
hero.
That's a nice,
Yeah.
that's a nice one.
Well deserved.
Absolutely. All right, well, thank you for spending
Thank
part
you.
of your evening with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thanks, Bob.
Judy? Thanks, Bob.
Bill, you want to stick your head in?
Here she comes.
She's there.
Almost made it. Came right to that door.
Hi, everyone.
Okay.
Hello. Okay. I have 7 whole lines, in which, if you look, I really tried to take to heart what the mayor had asked as far as a decrease out of the budget. So I went through with the way things are going, obviously convention training, travel, all of that I normally have an opportunity to go to conferences is probably not going to happen in 2021 because I'm assuming we've gone to a lot of webinars, which is great. But I did leave a little bit in just in the event I have an opportunity or they go back to in-person training. Let's see. Medical expenses, we're still conducting and doing our drug testing quarterly, but I can cut that back a little bit and save some money. But I hate to see that taken out altogether. I think it's important that we continue having that done. So, what questions? Am I missing anything that, like I said, most of them are all decreases from last year.
Anyone?
You are gonna have enough for memberships that, that got.
Yeah, because
expenses
of,
or-
right, a few of the dues due to the lack of being able to meet, they've extended them through the end of 2021.
Oh,
So the dues that I paid already, cover for 20 and 21.
That's good of them.
Yeah. It's the right thing to do.
And your coffee and snack budget is
You
remaining in
know-
place, right, obviously?
Still have something there for you. I did check the dates, I think they're still good.
Good.
Just kidding, they aren't from last year's meeting. The apples aren't at least.
That's great.
Thanks for making so many cuts.
Yes. Well, we all need
It's
to
the
work.
year.
It is the year, so. There's really nothing else going. I think I've kind of taken my safety hat and kind of worn it towards COVID. So I've been trying to assist in keeping the city and the employees safe and up to date on what's going on with COVID and what we need to do to stay safe. For the most part, the only cases that have come across my radar have been that secondhand exposure. No one's actually tested, which is good, but they may have been in contact with a suspected case or someone else. So, but besides that, we've been very fortunate.
Right.
So, we did the flu shot. I had probably the highest number of people that participated in the flu clinic this year than I've had in the past. And we also offered this year for anyone 50 or older the shingles vaccine, because that also on your insurance is no copay.
Right.
So I had several people asked to do that. So I think that's important that people are thinking about that additional safety on their own health. Anything?
Anything for Judy?
And this is a non-negotiating,
Right.
I think next
No.
year we
Yeah.
got, or, yeah, next year at the end, we
Not
have another
that, find the wood, not that.
contract, yeah. But we'll get that.
Oh,
done.
really? This year we have no new contracts?
Not in 2020, no,
Wow.
2021.
Next
See,
year.
that's
Next
good work
year-
we did. Oh.
Next year
next
we
year,
have
see,
two,
yeah.
but one of them asked for an extension, so we
Right.
really only have one next year.
Okay, just one.
Just one in 2021.
Good enough.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Now I got you back on track.
Good job, thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
Judy.
Good night.
I saw Chief Wagner here.
Exactly. Thank you. You're up. You're up. Yeah.
Get you, you can push your chief and chief.
Nope, it's like, Billy, it's going to try.
I see it.
Okay.
I think it should be on there.
nice shirts.
We called each other this before we came to work.
I didn't get the memo.
So does anybody want to start in any specific place?
No.
I do.
Jim has.
Jim,
And all the yellow sticky notes.
It's just a couple. In your, other equipment on your, page 8,
Which your, I don't have that, so what line or number?
2500, 3120, 2500. It's not a lot, but it's it's quite a bit of a jump, and there really wasn't any indication of what the increase was for. Same with other supplies, 4379.
I have 4379, I don't have the other one that you're referring to.
Other equipment?
23120. 2500.
Yeah, I don't
Or,
remember 2500.
hold on. You're right, is that other
That
equipment?
is other.
Yep.
Yeah, it goes.
So last year you had $465 in the budget line, and this year you got 1,500. And so what raises Jim's
Well, we
question
haven't
is
set
the 200%
anything yet, so.
increase.
I mean, I'm just wondering, that's all, just.
This one here. Nothing's standing out to me
Yeah,
as
that's-
far as, but let me just see what we're at for this year. Let's see,
You missed the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so 2020, 2,500.
Yes, other,
Yeah, we had 1,500 in the 2020 budget, and we kept it at 1,500 for the 2021 budget. There was no change.
I got $465 for,
Yep.
Yeah.
And that you spent 0 in that line this year. according
Yeah,
to-
my records that I have show it says 1,500 and 1,500.
did we transfer funds out of there?
Possibly.
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, there's nothing
Okay.
Because it
specific
shows,
standing out to me.
But even if we transfer funds out of there, the budget,
it's
no,
still,
it would have
yeah.
been the same,
Yeah.
so maybe, well, yeah, who knows?
Well, that line where it says 465 is the current year budget with any revisions
Right,
that have occurred during the year.
And then what was the other one that you asked about?
It was just, other supplies, 4,379. So we've only spent 700 and we budgeted.
So let's see, in 2020 was 3,000.
Yeah, I have 2,250.
Yep, 3,000 for this year.
379. And we kept it at 3,000.
Yeah,
There's no change.
according to ours was that we had 2,250 in the budget, but you've only spent 706.
I would not have asked the question if that was the case.
Yeah, though, as from
'Cause it
my
shows
records
big
that I
increases.
have, we budgeted the same amount of money from 2020 to 2021, we had no change.
Okay.
Okay. Because it did, usually when there's a large increase, you guys usually write because of something in your
Right,
detail. There
yeah,
wasn't
that's what
anything
we were
in there,
looking
so
for.
I was wondering what was. but I have. It's all good for me.
So essentially, when, the mayor asked us to
well,
try to keep the tight budget as much as we possibly could. Some of the things that we did for 2020, we're not asking for new cars in 21. We think that with the vehicles that we have, we think that we could make it a year without replacement. And then some of the other things that we had in 2020, we're starting to replace older radio equipment. Obviously, we're going to wait another year. Obviously, with COVID, we don't really know how long this is going to continue and what that's going to look like for us going down the road. So, of course, without replacing cars, we're able to save some money in some other equipment line items, like our radio install, maintenance, and repair. We're able to take a little bit of money out of there for savings. The last couple of years, we've replaced 10 police department vests for body armor. We're getting now where we replaced 20 over the last 2 years. So everybody is getting into that window where everybody's been replaced within the last 5 years. But we still have to have some some money available for, body armor, for new hires, because they're specific.
How long is a vest good for?
5 years. They're, right now, they're just under $800 per member. You know, if we hire 3 officers a year on average and train them, we have to get that new body armor. But then we also have money available for replacement. So if an officer damages his body armor, we have to be able to replace that. We have applied for grant money, and then once that's replaced, we have to do the submission and then get that money back, and then that money goes back into the general fund. Let's see, what was the other major expense that we had from 2020 that we didn't need for this year is other professional services. We cut $27,500 out of there. We had budgeted for a new fingerprint computer. Obviously, we won't need to replace that again in 21, so we made that adjustment. But we did, the assistant chief applied for a grant, so we should be getting $10,000 back on that soon for, on our 2020 budget, and that will go back into the general fund once we get that. But all told, we cut about $60,500 out of from our budget from 2020. Just trying to do the best we could. Still, we have everything budgeted for that we think that we're going to need, but we tried to keep it as tight as we possibly could.
We thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have anything else for the chiefs?
I just wanna say it's remarkable, given the contractual obligations of the police department with, state retirement and salaries, that they were able to reduce their overall budget from 2021.
Absolutely. It's not like there was any fat to begin with.
Right.
I mean, I guess it just came, we looked at everything that we were doing, and obviously we've gotten ourselves in a position where we're comfortable with our fleet of cars. We're not to the point where our wheels are falling off anymore. For us to go 1 year without replacement, that's $25,000 is what we spend for 2 vehicles every year. So to be able to do that and then, put some things off a little, for a year, we should be fine. So.
I think I saw once, I don't know, I think the list that I saw was from Jim Schrammel, and it had every vehicle that was in the department and how old it was. It almost knocked me out of my seat. This was maybe 6 or 8 years ago when I was on the board of public safety. Do you have such a list? And you just know off the top.
I know off the top of my head.
Fair enough.
There used to be some vehicles that old.
Some of the DPW vehicles.
Yes. Most of our vehicles right now, we don't have anything in the fleet currently that is less than a 2014.
No.
And so those vehicles that are 2014, they have 120,000 miles on them. But what we've been doing is we've been repurposing them. So we may get a new vehicle. We'll put that into regular patrol, and then we'll take the older car and we'll use that for a transport car going back and forth to the academy. And so yes, we're putting highway miles on it, but it's not getting beat up with city driving every day. City driving can be pretty hard on these cars. They last usually about 4 years, and then after that, they're pretty well whipped.
They're used 24/7, 365. That's not like there's any downtime for them.
Right.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys taking the time.
We can put $12,000 back if you'd like, and I'll do consulting for 2021. The assistant chief,
How about if we give you some snack?
the assistant chief said that, as long as I answer my phone, he'd be willing to take me for some consulting fees in 2021.
Judy's got some old apples that we can share with
Yeah,
you.
we're all good.
It sounds like a no.
I guess I'm not retired.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, we are so far ahead now that Chris is, you wanna buzz Chris and ask him if he wants to come early?
You got his number?
I don't know if I have it.
I have it. Not on my phone, though.
I got it.
I have a question maybe you can answer, Mike, about the money that I was asking the mayor earlier and he just told me to run it by you. So we had passed a resolution for the tree inventory and then we never spent that.
Right.
So where would I see that reflected in the budget now? Just to make sure that we can,
Chris, where are you?
No, stop.
No, 5:30.
Stop it, that's
Is he our last
I'm
one?
just busting your chops. We're down to the
What else do we
police
have?
chief, so you can come anytime you want.
Right.
Preferably now. All right. Yeah.
Gene, who else do
So
we have?
on,
That's Chris.
Hold on.
Who else do we have?
the details.
We got, DPW.
Oh, that's right.
page
Yeah.
17,
Which one? Sorry. 17?
yeah, page 17.
Okay.
Under,
Remember that list?
top.
Billy, there was like a 1972
Towards the top it says?
DPW truck that was like the grader or whatever.
So,
I'm like, we didn't
there's
have something from
forestry and there's
1972, like on the road, but still working.
pruning and removal.
And I bet we haven't got rid of it. I mean, I can't remember what we
Go
didn't,
across,
maybe it
the
doesn't get
revised
tons of
budget.
action, but
Mm-hmm.
No, but they have a
Reflects
great guy down there who does welding.
resolutions
and
Yeah.
added
really
to
saves
that.
a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Trucks.
And then the current year actual, you see under
Find somebody-
forestry,
find
there's
somebody
nothing
else.
expended.
Yeah.
So that 51,000, to do a resolution in December, rolling it over from 2020 to 2021.
I just thought it might as well
Okay,
see if we could move it along, right?
okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that
Do
it
you want
was
me to
earmarked
call?
for that purpose.
Yeah, I would call,
That's
You're like, yeah, let's
Forestry.
get and see, can we
Yeah.
find,
new trees.
Okay.
Tommy?
Alright. Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you want me to call him?
Right, and tell him that we're, that we're ahead of schedule, and if he wants to come early,
What time
we'll
is
try to move.
anytime.
Is he coming himself, or is he out coming with
It's
Jeremy?
him, Carrie, right?
Probably Carrie will come.
Right, so.
Last year he did it himself. It was his first year doing it.
Oh, that could be.
Right, so.
So what do you want me to tell him?
Whoever gets here first can go.
I don't know, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of, that Chris is gonna take very long. Does anyone have a lot to grill Chris on? You do?
I don't.
Right, I was gonna say, I thought that was pretty straightforward.
Not a lot there.
Mike, how's Matt doing?
Matt's doing good.
Is he at Michigan, is that right?
He is.
Is that what your thing says on it? Your mask?
No, this is my alma mater, the
What's the
Utah
second?
State University.
Where?
The Utah State University, the Aggies.
You know my dad went there?
Did he really?
Yeah.
There's a
Wow.
bunch of us from
Yeah.
Coach Urian,
He went there
who's
too, huh?
there. He's an Aggie.
So my,
Jim Suplon,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
My dad grew up in Syracuse and he was dating my mom and my grandfather. I sent him out there to get as far away from Yeah, because he wasn't doing his work. He started at Syracuse University.
Wow.
He loved it out there.
That's beautiful.
He was there when Merlin Olsen was there,
Oh, yeah,
back in the way back then.
yeah.
Do that because we're gonna be way ahead of schedule, so, if you get this message before 6.
Is that Logan, Utah? Is that what that is?
It is, yeah. Very northern part of the state.
You know who else has a connection to there is the Hogans there, the kids was kicking. I
Yes.
think he's there now kicking.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's pretty neat. So what's your son doing in Michigan?
He's getting a doctorate in biomedical engineering.
Wow.
It's not rocket science or anything, but, you know, it's pretty close.
As close as any kid from Glens Falls is gonna get,
It's
okay?
awesome.
Be serious.
That's good.
He's my heavyweight wrestler
I
back in the
think
day.
that we should ask for clarification to meet
Before my wife almost killed me.
clarification on this, right?
I would come home from wrestling matches at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night after I left at like 6 in the morning. She'd be like, why does it take so long? I'm like, have you ever been to a wrestling match in your life? And our heavyweight is good, so he's always in the finals. So we always wait till the last match.
That's
they
right.
still
You know they don't do it by, you probably
They
know
do
this
the
more
tournaments sometimes
By
still,
weight
the
still?
finals still by weight. Or
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because
But they
a lot of
don't-
times they don't.
Yeah, a lot-
In high
like
school,
a
they'll
duel.
mix it up.
Like a dual meet, they mix it up.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, oh my god, we got. And so our heavyweights were good that year. We had your son and a couple other guys. I can't even picture their faces right now. Like nothing. But they were always all on the. All three of them were good. Joe, wild kid Joe there.
Oh,
What was his name? Do you remember? He went to school in New Jersey. And then the one kid went in the military. Oh my God, I can picture his.
okay, so I've now read this letter.
Are we still?
I don't know, did you turn, are we still?
I can mute it.
Oh, you don't have.
3 minutes.
Yes,
We're counting on it.
yeah.
Start. It's been a rip roar so far. Any other questions?
All right. Any questions for Mr. Vanderzeen?
Chris, you have all the equipment you need? And want?
No.
Is it in your budget?
To get us through, yes, what I needed to cut and do. Big difference from last year to this year. I don't know, has anybody seen it, or want to compare last year's to this year's, or?
Yeah, we got.
Yep, we have the comparison. What page is that? Mike?
13.
I have a real simple one to make it easy. Want to see it?
Sure.
Yep.
Nice.
We love visuals. Thank you. If you'd only put them in color and.
I'm not up with That was your excitement
You
yesterday.
saw that last night, yeah,
Of course, it should.
color. So big question first, Jane, we had talked about getting Chris another position, is that on hold for this year?
No, we put a half-time person to full-time.
And that is reflected here?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, it's in the,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
in, it's in the personnel, because we also lost a person.
Right.
So,
I think what I adjusted, mine might be a little bit different than whatever, since what I submitted,
Okay,
I had originally put Will for full-time, and he was part-time, and Elliot was part-time. I lost Elliot, but I had put Will as full-time anyways in this budget. So that's where I'm at.
so we lost a part-timer and turned a part-timer into a full-timer.
correct.
So we didn't gain or lose any FTEs?
But we lost a body.
Right,
Can't be in as many places at one time, you know.
same
kind of thing, but
FTEs, same FTEs though, not grown?
But it was before the training, right? That you
Yep.
lost the part-timer.
The timing was
Yeah.
perfect on it, and for me, I'd definitely rather have Will full-time than 2 part-timers. For the
Yeah.
continuity, it works much better.
Yeah.
We definitely, where we're at, we do need more personnel. I'd rather make sure we get the right person when we find it, if we find it.
Yeah, of course.
But this will still feel like an improvement, right? Having another full-time trained person in there.
Right, he's gone through 3 days of his
Yeah.
6 weeks of classes so far. He just started the training.
But, well, they just started them back, yeah, so. Are they live? They're going live?
Yes,
Okay.
So Chris, your equipment budget is down for next year?
yes. Jamie's got room in his budget under grants to hopefully pick us up our pads and our printer that we're gonna need. For that, as far as other equipment, we don't go through a lot. I mean, we've been trying to keep it very low budget, or as you say, I mean, there are a few small things, but we're trying to.
I think we're trying to find out if we can use that grant to pay for the wireless connectivity also, so that they can use the printers in the car.
Which, if you look at Verizon in there, that did go up from, I don't have last year's Verizon in there. That did go up because I put it in for 3 people with a phone as opposed to 1.5. So there is some connectivity or some room there. The big reduction was the software, and the 9280 does reflect adding the tablets for next year, so we can be live in the field, and all the maintenance fees that go with it.
Do you have tablets now?
I got the old tablets under John they bought and said were useless, so we unlocked them, we backdoored unlocked them, and they will kind of work, there's no connectivity to them, whatever, but, I had the guys using them, they're there.
So we got this new software for building and code right when COVID started. So it delayed all of the
just got our data, our old data, we just got in about a week and a half ago. We're probably we're still learning, we're maybe at 90% of that software deficiency. We lost all live training, we lost all that went out the window. So I've got a stack of inspections in my office, still no inspections that have been put in as far as building permit inspections. We are finally live with violations and everything, and actually today was the first successful day in court that we could finally get everything working in court. And so we are.
So when you get those inspections caught up, you'll be doing them live and you won't have to go back in and redo
As soon as I can start entering, we're way behind in getting permits entered. Colleen was out for that whole long period, whatever, so I've got her probably 30 permits on her desk waiting to enter, and there's another 30 plus that she doesn't know about yet that can go on her desk. So I can't enter inspections until I have something to enter inspections against.
Okay.
So we're still a ways away from that.
But when you were caught up, and I know that, yeah, I hear you, you're saying, well, yeah, we're in the hole, we've got to put the data in so we can do that, but if you were caught up, your process would be take the iPad and enter the information as you go along, so you're not putting information in afterwards, right? That's your goal, right?
Yes.
And that's what you got the software to do now. Yeah, you just gotta get there. Fair enough. Yeah, that's good word. There's light at the end of that tunnel.
I just don't know if it's a train.
The only thing I foresee coming is that we're looking at that other workflow part of the software, and we don't know if we're gonna add that or how much that will cost. We just talked about that at our last meeting. So I don't know if that could be an increase.
I personally don't see that happening next year. We're a long ways away from incorporating. We gotta get what we have up and running. We have building block, we gotta get this up and running. The workflow, I think there's workarounds that we need to do better. We need to put some better systems in place in my office. Last Tuesday night or whenever the last zoning meeting approved it, and so we are trying to incorporate some better systems. I had a zoning thing come in today, it's going up to the county. We're trying to certain things have to go to the county, certain things go to different departments early. So we're trying to come up with a better system internally without spending the software initially or until we can for this workflow. So that's.
Okay.
Anything else for Chris?
So the overall, with all those changes, we still ended up cutting 10% out of that budget.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you for all that work, and thank you for helping us restructure this department. I feel very comfortable that we're coming to a better place in our code enforcement, and so I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
All right, see?
My 3 minutes is up.
You did well. You'll put down a snack on your way out.
Yeah, pushing the snap.
Right. Seems a shame she went to all that trouble.
I know, it's such a nicely arranged basket too.
And look, what's in it?
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks,
Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
All right, so then it's just Mr. Gerard and
Yeah,
friends, maybe?
Called and left a message.
Yeah, well, good. It's only 15 minutes when we get out, so.
So Mike, how did you want it to be done?
quick,
Right, you got the
so,
message.
He was,
So thank
now
you for
he's
coming.
safe.
How are ya? I tried to get over to Kerry, but she
Manhattan, Upper East Side.
okay.
As they say in Connecticut, Dreary.
Yeah, Kerry.
No, yeah, well, a very nice closet, yes, yep. Tommy, how are you?
Ah,
Gentlemen, you two endo?
I was gonna say, we use that term loosely around here.
As soon as I stop breathing, that is the fog will go
Right,
away.
right, you gotta do it, right.
I ran in the other day, I was late, and I was over here, I was huffing and puffing and trying not to make a scene while I was late, so everybody else was talking, and I'm going, oh, if I pass out here, somebody will
I
pick
do
me
that
up.
at work, I go upstairs, I'm like, I gotta take it, just kinda breathe. Blame it on the mask. It's not like-
Yeah, it was all the mask. Had nothing to do that I ran all the way from the Queensberry Hotel to here.
So they've been going good apparently?
Things have not generated a lot of questions, cause everybody has been so slashing, yeah. It's been impressive.
Are we? Well, the funny thing was, I said to Kerry yesterday, the paper had us at 6:30. And I said, no, 6:45?
Right.
I said, told her, yeah, 6:30.
Page good there.
I don't know,
Did you see the?
what page is Tom's?
I did it
Do you know,
on the.
page
the
5?
Crossing, yeah,
Kennington, Lincoln.
yeah, I did, thank you for forwarding that, yeah.
We're gonna do it tomorrow, just to the virus.
There we go.
Okay. I got back to that person who sent the letter, but I didn't hear back, so if I find out any more specific concerns, I'll
That,
pass them.
I don't know, what Nancy's or?
No, no, the
Oh,
other
that's
one.
down on Kensington.
No, but I got a letter in my box that I had talked
Ah.
about, it was like a handwritten one, so we were.
Handwritten, doesn't say what his concern was.
Well, it did, it just was general, it was like a general, but it wasn't
Yeah.
this specific one, so if I find out more, we can.
Kerry could, if you guys wanna be going, Kerry is really good and has all the specifics, but if there's any questions you guys wanna throw at me before
Anyone
she gets
have
here.
any general questions for Tom?
Do you have any skin left after we cut this budget, Tom?
We just, Kerry does, like I said, she does a great job with it. We were told, we didn't have to be told, we knew early on we weren't gonna be buying new big equipment. We got 2 really nice trucks, the last 2 years, matter of fact, one's gonna be delivered to Trias, who puts all the stuff, all the fancy stuff and plow stuff on in Fort Everett tomorrow, and that's gonna be delivered tomorrow. The other one we haven't even plowed with, that was from 2019 budget. We haven't plowed with it yet, but that's all ready to go, so we're in pretty good shape with equipment. The one thing I did tell the guys is we're not gonna get anything big, so if there's any attachments you guys want, let's try to get the attachments this year. So we did put a brush hog in, because we've been borrowing Warren County's brush hog. So we bought an attachment that goes on our bobcat. We have 3 bobcats, actually 2. They gave the water and sewer 1. The oldest one, we use it for punching roads.
That's awesome.
So we have 3 bobcats, 2 with the DPW. This attachment will go on the bobcat, so we can go down. We're picking up more and more Parkview, Larry Cruz project down on the Parkview. We're responsible to mow the north side, Mike?
yeah, north
North
side.
side.
The north side,
Yep.
we're responsible to mow that.
Bush Street,
Bush
Havlin,
Street,
Havlin.
Tech Park over on the east side. We have about 5 or 6 places we're responsible. We're getting more and more up to the walking path that we did on Jerome. So we were trying to push that back as much as we can. So that was that's the attachment we bought. I put a grappler in there, which we took out. I think Mike took out. I don't think it's in there, but Mike.
It's not,
It was $11,000. What a grappler is it's another attachment that goes down the bobcat. It's sort of, I call it a claw. It picks up piles of brush. It's going to put it on our chipper. and automatically chips. I didn't get a buy-in with the guys this year on that. My brother Robert, chief, they didn't really buy in on that part of it. So, we took it off, and maybe I'll rent one next July or something, see how it actually works. But we took that off, so that's not even in there.
What about the leaf vacuum?
The leaf vacuum is, there's a very good success story in a leaf vacuum. I'm not gonna share with you, Jim. We'll wait till tomorrow. Now I think you guys know, we got a deal, because of COVID and all this stuff, my intention was to auction off as much junk as we could for over the years and get some money and try to buy a new leaf vac. The leaf vac was between 50 and 60,000. And, once COVID hit, I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but we got lucky. The salesman that was selling to us, he contacted me, I don't know, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I got 2 leaf vacs in Reading, Pennsylvania. They're model 2000s, but they only got 1,500 hours on them. They want $5,000 for them. So, I called Dan and go, Dan, hey, it's a great opportunity to start and see if we're gonna like it. If we don't like it, we
Get in easy.
Bet.
So, I told Mark Lambert, I said, call him back and tell him we'll give 8,000 for both of them. Now, this is a joke. It's a Friday afternoon before the holiday. I can't remember the holiday. And the guy says, yeah, we'll take it. I go, shit, now I gotta call Dave and tell him about it too. But talking to the mechanics, they go,
You got parts.
parts,
You bet.
and they're both, so we hauled them up here for another 1,800 or whatever. So we got 2 really good vacs. The mechanics went through them. They said, there's nothing, we didn't lose. So we actually had Steve Brown, who's one of our mechanics, who's very, very, very good. I mean, the whole crew is good, but he's just a welder, a fabricator. We just completed the box for a truck. He modified a box, built it himself, goes on one of our tandems. And we tried it out this afternoon on McDonald, and it works like a charm. The biggest problem is the tarp. We tried to buy it today. It needs a tarp because it's such a heavy suction, it's just blowing leaves. It's got a,
So it's gotta be contained.
so it's got to be contained.
Yeah.
So the tarp that we needed was not available this afternoon at Tractor Supply. They said they had one, we went up to get it, they didn't have it. So we used a tarp that's got 6 inches on each side. So it's spraying with it, but it was fine. It worked like a top, so it's.
Wow.
So now we gotta get our winter stuff ready, and then I'm gonna have Steve make another box. These boxes are being sold at Fab 3 over in Greenwich for between $7,000 to $10,000, $11,000. We have $1,100 in material and nothing, labor that we're paying for anyways. So
Great.
I do have a video of it from this afternoon on McDonald Street. I can pass around until.
Post that on your Facebook page?
I talked to him and said, do you want to post this one? I said, let's wait till tomorrow. We're gonna go down on Thornberry tomorrow. There's, Thornberry
Yeah.
they've been saving leaves for 5 years. So we're gonna go down there tomorrow.
Sorry, can't see the houses.
It's down to 1 lane.
There is no houses, it's just,
Just leave.
There's no houses.
Just trees.
I don't know if you want to pass that around, I mean, I'll wash my hands.
So there was one thing, thank you for the efforts in doing sidewalks. That's been great, and a lot of neighbors have appreciated the sidewalks being done particularly on South Street and stuff. And I mentioned this previously, and I know in Schenectady, they did it, and it worked out for them. A cement grinder to grind down some of the lips, so there isn't a lip on.
Instead of tearing up the sidewalk?
Instead of ripping up everything.
I get it, I
cutting
get
the
an email
roots
from
and stuff
somebody,
like that.
services for
It
that.
works on, there's some big ones where you couldn't do it, but there are, we have little lips and stuff where it would work really nice, so the transition wouldn't be so noticeable, but, that's something to think about, down the road when we have, it might save on cement budget in other work.
It's interesting,
They did it in front of City Hall, around City Hall, and it worked out great. I mean, again, the lips weren't huge, cause it would've looked really bad, but.
So they grind the lips and then they re-cement?
No, they just
just
grind
grind
it
it down.
down, so it's not a tripping hazard anymore. So,
Boy, I mean, sounds
Sounds
good.
it was, instead of ripping up, I mean, again, it
Because we have-
wasn't a
we-
huge
we have-
lip, but
we
it
have a
was,
lot of that,
We have a lot of that.
because we have a lot of trees.
yeah, I mean, you wouldn't, it's not something you would do with one that's pretty protruding
Yeah,
up,
no, but
but,
like right now, I'm working on a project, well, Ed Bartholomew, project over on Abraham Wing School District. And they have a bunch there's no trees, and I can't figure out why.
Why there's cross heaving,
There's
yeah,
4 or 5 that are
Yeah.
just
yeah.
3/4 inch, maybe an inch.
it's just enough.
Instead of putting all rain and sidewalks, I just don't know the cosmetics of it though, with it, how's it look when they're done?
I mean, it looks like it's ground down, but it it serves the purpose of tripping hazard
Sure.
and ripping up sidewalks that, for the most part, are in decent shape.
Right.
But, I mean, it's something we'll get to down the road when there's funds available.
Do you have anything else for Tom?
Well, let's give Carrie her due respect, because she did do the budget for us. And
Right.
Sure.
I used to get like ads sent to me on our old, like, about that grind.
Yeah, and that's who they use.
Okay.
And they talk to the facility guy, and they're great.
I was asking earlier about the tree inventory that we have been talking about doing for a while. And I know that we authorized the money but didn't spend it this year, so I'm assuming we're gonna do that next year.
I believe he's on,
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's in charge. I haven't
We're gonna
really,
do a resolution in December, rolling our money from this year to next.
I really haven't, we've talked about it, but I don't know who's the point person on that.
Nothing good, Scotty?
Well, there's an apple.
But yeah, we definitely,
It's tough to eat.
we actually,
My mask on.
he told me not to plant any trees this fall,
Right.
because he was waiting for this.
Inventory,
Well,
yeah.
the DEC told us not to just plant until we do the inventory and get the management plan. So that's why I just wanted to make sure that we were
Doing it, right.
doing it and allocating the money for that so that we can keep replenishing as we get those calls to take them down.
I'm very opposed to, that people actually want trees.
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference.
Everybody loves, Crandall Park. Came out
Yeah.
beyond what I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys did a great job.
Yeah.
Whatever the involvement was there, I know you were there a couple days, but.
Right after this, I wanna grab you just, I got a call from, Windy Ridge Road, across from the Frost. They want a tree assessed. They're saying they thought it was on their property, they believe it, being told it's on the city right away. Probably send Robbie or whoever, over.
Where's the frost? I'm not drawing. a blank.
Windy Ridge, so next, right now,
Sort of back
right
up
by,
on the Tennessee School Club property there,
yeah,
only kind of,
Over by Barry?
Crockwell
Yeah.
Pond.
Yeah.
Melrose and Polis, are they between Melrose and Polis?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know the people live on either side of them. They're not the last house on the street, they're two. So, and they're saying it's on the right of way. So I figured Rob would wanna go and assess it. And then also a final note about 123 Hunter Street and, my house. I just wanna see if Carrie's got that tree, the grinding of that stump on her list.
We,
No hurry on it. I'm not.
well, investment last year, the stump grinder, which we rented for a week, see if we liked it, we got it, they gave it to us last year. We ground, is that the right word?
Yeah.
We ground over 50 stumps, and we have over 70 left.
Wow,
It's
okay,
amazing.
good.
So
That's awesome.
they're on the list, right?
They're all on the
Oh,
list.
that's what we
I'm
tell
telling you,
everybody.
they're on the list.
They're on the list, we just don't know when we're gonna get to the list.
Right.
No, that's fair enough too, and I certainly am not worried as long as
And
that's
this,
the
and I
case.
keep telling Carrie, her 70 is not accurate, there's 100. I go, I drive around a lot during the day. There's like Fielding, I think there's 3 on Fielding, she only has 1. There's
Rob takes down a tree like every 2 a day, you know?
our guy, our tree guys, Rob and my brother, they finished their list like 3 weeks ago.
That's
Good.
amazing.
That's good.
Yeah, and we've never been, Carrie will tell you, they've never been ahead of, they've never caught up
Yeah.
until, so they're actually, of course, every day we get 5 more calls on trees. Yep.
Is trees the biggest call you get? Is there any statistics on it?
There's a good
Pickup.
question as she walks in.
It's gotta be pickup.
Are trees the biggest call you get? Trees.
Yes.
Okay.
Through the website, trees are the heavy hitters.
Oh yeah, trees on the website too?
All people ask me about is pickup.
That's good. I think it's good.
We get, 3 to 5 a week.
Okay.
They were running early, Carrie, so.
Oh, they're never early. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Whoa.
Maybe it's quick this year.
We discussed a couple of the bigger.
Yeah, that budget, it's not much to budget.
Not to worry.
Discussed a couple of bigger things.
So we're page 5, right?
Had to wait for you.
Page 5 on our document, guys? So Carrie, we said congratulations to Tom, but we really knew it was congratulations to you. You cut out 2.5% of that budget, that's amazing.
Oh.
Wasn't any fat in it to begin with, so.
No, it wasn't. It was kind of hard.
Yeah.
Saying that when we put the grapher back in.
Right, yeah.
So the brush hog's okay?
I actually only have very few questions.
Okay.
So,
So, shoot.
street maintenance, page 13.
5110, right? Got it.
Yeah, I didn't really have time to put my spreadsheet together, so I'm just winging it here.
Oh, you're probably gonna ask me why other contracted services went down from 32 to 2,000? Okay, so we have money every year we've had put aside for that parking lot on Warren Street. So I called Mike and the mayor and I said, we keep putting that money in there to that parking lot on Warren Street, and we're not doing it because there's underlying water and sewer issues. So I said, do you want me to take that money out till we figure it out? So that's why I took it out.
Okay, good.
So it will reappear in another.
We're gonna have to address it at some point, I would
At
think.
some
Someday we'll have to do it.
Just not this year.
Right.
Yeah. Page 14, snow removal. It is 5142. Is there a truck in there?
No, we didn't put in for any trucks. These are all just lease payments.
So why did it
Because
go
there
up?
was 2 trucks that weren't accounted for. The truck from the year before that we finally just got.
Oh, is that the 2020?
Yeah, and then we have a new one coming from last year's budget that we haven't got.
2019.
Okay,
2019 truck, like I told you guys, we haven't even used yet.
Mhm.
okay.
And the 2020 truck is gonna be delivered with.
So
3
the
loads.
payments will be listed one of 5?
Yep. They will, yep. We've already paid 1, so that's why we're gonna be 2 of 5 on the 2 of them. We
Okay,
prepaid 1 and we already started paying on the one we just got. So we're
okay,
actually on 2 of each. So we paid on the one that's not even here yet,
okay.
because we had to do a prepayment.
So the last thing I have is page 15, cement. 5410.
Mhm.
We historically never spend any money there,
No, we don't have cement there anymore.
but, so why are we
Because-
continuing to put money
Well,
there?
because we can use that money for cement, so if we wanted to use money for sidewalks, and pay for someone to telephone that we pay out of chips out of there, so we weren't paying for out of chips, we could. So I did reduce it a little bit, because I think we're trying to start using less of chips money
for sidewalks and use more of it for paving. So now that we've been in meetings with community development and we realized that community development can actually pay for some trees and some sidewalk work, we're doing it differently. Before, when community development did their stuff with Catalfamo, it had nothing to do with DPW. We're doing it different now. Now we're doing it that we take our sidewalk list, give it to Catalfamo, and if I break it down with what wards are available, and I send those bills to community development, so it's not coming out of CHIPS.
That's
So we're
great.
trying to allocate more money to CHIPS for paving as opposed to for this stuff that we're, so
Yeah.
I anticipate next year we're gonna spend more out of here than we are in CHIPS.
That's great.
And also, I'll add to that, we do have a cement crew. We pay
We do,
for
one
a
way.
cement finisher.
Mhm.
And like this year alone, all that Crandall Park stuff, I don't think the DPW got the credit they deserve. All that flat work, all the cement flat work at Crandall Park was done by the DPW guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna be spending, once everything, the dust settles and we find out all the bills and stuff for Crandall Park, because most of it was, grant money and donated money. But there might be a little bit of that money, the cement work that we did, that we gotta eat. So, our guys did it. Mark Lambert did most of it, but we are paying a cement finisher for cement finishing. And
So one of our truck drivers gets a cement finisher extra pay, he's getting paid more than a truck driver. And he always, whenever we do concrete, he is the one that's done it because he's getting the money.
So here's a or a thought, we were talking about this cement grinder.
Yeah.
If you don't, you know, that might be a place to look for, if you don't spend a lot of the money, that might be helpful to you guys down the road for,
no,
I mean, I'm just,
no, great suggestion, good idea.
look at it and see if it works. It might not work for us, it might not, but it might, and it might be helpful from an operational and cost standpoint.
He was, we were talking about, there's a machine out there that actually grinds,
Jim was telling me, so instead of going like this, it goes down.
well, it actually shaves.
You should
Somehow like.
Instead of digging it all up,
Instead of
redoing
digging it
Right.
up, that won't do the whole thing.
Yeah,
You know, it just shaves it down and makes it level and,
as most of ours are just trees uprooting it.
Yeah.
Right.
it probably wouldn't help a lot of that, but there's some, like, just, hey, Van Wing, I went over there today. And I got a meeting with Ryan George tomorrow morning, and there's some that, there's no trees, it's just a little bit offset, and if this works, of course, then we'll get into the people that call and say it doesn't match.
Yeah, it's not as pretty.
It doesn't need to look pretty, it just needs to be functional and safe.
What?
That's what it needs to be.
Not in front of my house. Tom, do you think there will be a day, so the mayor asked us at some point in the year, hey, what streets do you think you need? And then he compiles a list of streets that need paving, and then he must meet with you guys, and says, okay, you know, and then he looks at his CHIPS budget, and he comes up with, this is the tree, you know, and then he comes back to me and says, we can get this street, we can get this street, but we can't get that street, it's gonna have to wait, right? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do you think it's reasonable to have a long-term goal that we could start to do that regarding sidewalks and also curbs? Curbs that I mean, cause truth is, if I understand it right, I don't wanna paint a bad picture, but we've been really working hard over the time that I've been on the council to really get those streets paved on a regular basis so that we can turn a multi-year problem into a multi-year solution. And great success. And could we do the same? Could you look at throughout this coming year of creating this list of these are the worst curbs, or these are the worst sidewalks, and this is what we think we can do, this is what we have budget for, and we understand that we're not gonna, it might be 10 years before we get to them all. But is that reasonable, is it possible, or does that like make your head melt when I say such a thing?
No, it's, you know, Kerry will tell you, we're much more reactive than proactive because of our constituents, because of you fellow people.
Our concrete list, our sidewalk list, tell them what we just gave them, is almost done.
It's almost done, and it
So
wasn't
there's
very
nobody
many.
on it at this point. Because
Excuse me?
everybody that I just gave him, the new ones, he's already working on those, so there's nobody left on my sidewalk list.
I'll give you some.
Well, I mean,
So of people that have called me and said, a city tree's uprooting my sidewalk, I would like it replaced, I have to send somebody out to look at it and then put it on a list, that particular list is done. He has
So-
to cut it all up.
Just my house is 12300, Rob took the tree down, and I'm waiting for that stump, and that sidewalk needs to be repaired.
Okay.
So I'm not questioning you,
No.
I didn't know that, and I think there's a lot of sidewalks that need to be repaired that people aren't
Oh,
calling
I'm sure
about.
there is, but
Fair
if-
enough.
unless you come up with a program where he's gonna drive around and create a list, as for phone calls to me, I don't have
Right,
them.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to drive around my ward and
Okay,
No,
now,
I-
here's the thing, and we just went through this with Diana, and let me say this first, and then I'll say something else. We have tree uplifting, which is city's
city
responsibility.
Yeah.
We have the 50-50, which is the resident's responsibility.
Yep.
Now we have, and I don't wanna get into this yet, I will talk about that in another minute. We have HUD money, or Ed money. So, here's a scenario. We get a call that Smith Street, one of our councilwomen are out walking around, and Smith Street has and I'll tell you something else that I just had done over on Eden Park Nursing. But Smith Street from 22 to 16, the sidewalk is terrible. I was out on a walk. I think we should redo it. Okay. Does the residents want it redone? They don't care, but they're not going to pay for it. So the city is paying for that out of chips or. Okay, so now the owner of 22 Smith
It
Street.
was 5 minutes, by the way, after they were there. 5
This is
minutes.
a real story.
True story.
We just talked about it. I go, okay, the person, I'm not gonna get the right address,
Right.
but the
Right.
brother over on Hunter Street's gonna call and say, hey, you guys just replaced the sidewalk at Tom Gerard's house. My brother, I'd like mine replaced. Well, you gotta do a 50-50 program. What do you mean I gotta do 50? They didn't pay a penny. So, so we're stuck between a rock and a hard place with some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now saying that, me and Carrie just went to a meeting, with, Jim Thatcher and, Jacqueline Squire. And there's quite a bit of money out there in wards 1, 5, and 3.
Just
So
a
now
little,
we're,
not much in three.
1, 4, and 5.
Right.
4, I got 4.
1, 4, and 5, and a little bit.
A little teeny bit.
So
now
I,
the mayor has put us in charge of picking where
Spots in
the
those
street,
wards.
the back, so this is gonna be, that's where we're paying Smith Street with. We're paying Smith Street out of the HUD money.
Right.
We're not paying it out of city chips or 50-50 or anything else, so.
And I explained that to the lady, and she still didn't like my answer, and said,
Sure.
so if I live in this, I said, we don't designate where the HUD money can be spent. Unfortunately, that's designated through HUD. I said, we're just spending the money for them, because it's money that the city's getting. And then, well, as you know, you're not gonna please them anyways, and her answer was, well, I'm sorry. And I go, I'm sorry that you don't live in one of the districts that, she actually lived on Sanford Street, is where she lived.
Right.
And so the person on Smith, when she saw it, that was the, and I brought that up at the meeting, I said, here's the issue we're gonna have, as the person that answered the phone, the first time that you do this, but at least I could give her an answer as opposed to me just saying,
sure.
I don't know why we did it, and at least now I knew and I could say, listen, that was money that we got from HUD, and that's why
And
we're
we
doing it.
That's
received
why
a
I asked,
complaint
because-
and, yeah.
Ward 3 used to not be able to get any
Right.
of that, and now we
No,
have a
okay.
little bit, so.
Which
Actually,
is
let
great.
me back up a little bit. Ward 3 is still not, after we did this, they're still not,
4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
the money is 4 to 6 weeks away now.
Mhm.
After we were told it was available, now we're told today, we got.
What happened was I sent them the bill, and she sent it back to me, so I sent an email and I go, I'm confused. We just went over this, and now I'm sending you the bill for Smith Street, and you're sending it back. And Jim said, well, actually, that's not available 4 to 6 weeks. So now I have to talk to Tom, we have to decide, are we gonna make joint wait 4 to 6 weeks to pay that concrete bill? Or are we just gonna pay it out of chips, and then take something else out of the HUD fund?
Which we will. But back to your original question, William, we're pretty much reactive. If you call us, we'll put you on the list. We are going out and looking for some stuff because what I was gonna say is Eden Park Nursing Home. If you guys ever go up Prospect Street, it's a mess. There's no curb.
Right.
And all the workers have made it a swamp.
I wanted to comment on that too, Tom, because a couple of years ago, we did Walnut Street, the upper Walnut, and they did some sidewalks and curbing. Some of the curbing could not be replaced because you killed the tree. The trees that we planted years ago are not the right kind of trees. That's why the sidewalks are being upheaved. Same thing with the curbing. So they said they couldn't replace certain curbing because it would kill the tree, so.
But
That's
that's why
another
we need
issue.
that tree inventory again,
Yeah.
so that we.
Another issue.
Yeah.
All those trees.
Well, I mean, we're a tree city and we're a walking school district.
Correct.
I mean, those are two things, and
Those are my most calls, I'll be honest, is sidewalks and trees, those are my
So
two
is it,
lists
so
that
is
I-
it reasonable that for a long-term goal that we start to create a list that we could somehow get a little more proactive? That's all I'm asking.
I don't see why we couldn't.
It's
Now-
an extremely difficult list and complicated because we got 4 different possible funding
Correct.
sources.
But I will tell
It's-
you, the amount of money that Jim told us is available is significant.
Yes.
It's not minor, it's
That's,
not.
so,
So if it's up to us and you wanna spend it, there's, I'm sure, a million sidewalks that could be replaced and we could do that. The only issue would be, again, is right now we're in the middle of pickup and we're trying to do stump grinding.
No,
and
you
we're
need
trying
to do that.
So I don't know who would have the manpower
Yeah.
Fair
unless it's less than, say, mild winter to go
well,
do
maybe
that.
we can, as council members, can help you start with the list,
I
but
have
it
no
won't, you
problem
know.
doing that. And I've actually started a list like I did with the street paving, rating certain areas.
But not saying anything to people,
No, I
too. We don't
think
wanna
it'd be
create a
fantastic.
problem.
You guys would come, I think it'd be fantastic. You guys did it just like the asphalt, you know, you get your priorities, you go, you know,
Right.
this is,
Your top 10,
yeah.
your top
Great.
10 every year.
Great.
I'm
And
not-
with the full understanding, you can only get what you can get to.
Yeah.
And fair enough, but
But-
it does help us as much as it helps you, Carrie, to know. It really helped me when I get that call about that street and I say, you know what, didn't make it this year.
Yeah.
It's on the list, but and we're hoping to get to it next year.
We have one right now, she gets a call 5 times a day from a woman over in, I think your ward, Jim, about a tree. It's just, it's not dead, it's,
Yeah.
It's.
Sorry, it's
every day,
big,
2
you
times
know
a day.
what?
I'm not gonna say anything about, I'll tell you, but you know.
it's, you know, and we keep, you know, we can tell her till we're.
I've told her a million times.
We,
We've been
next year
over,
we'll
done
look at it
with
again,
there's
but
nothing
right
wrong.
now it's not dead, it's not dangerous, there's not a safety hazard, it's not touching your roof. Actually, Robert's going over and did trim
Trim it.
back as much as they had,
Couldn't help it.
and,
Great.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
I think if you guys would do that,
I'm
we
fine with it.
could put a, you know, get into it again, and, you know, the money.
And I could try to identify what could qualify for community development funds for you, and
I mean, Jim sent me a map, so I have a map now and I can go look and say, okay, this does qualify, it's in that.
So, yeah, she can, you can make
Okay.
the list.
You know exactly how much money there is at each ward right now?
Well,
Yes,
we're
he just sent it to us yesterday, actually, or today.
That's great. But even if the money's there, doesn't mean you have the time to do it.
Right.
well,
Correct.
contracts.
I mean,
Does
it's-
Some of this is gonna be Catapult's work, so we do, I mean,
So you might be able to.
And
Okay.
Catawba bangs it out, I mean,
He did this list that I gave him, we just gave it to him, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
it's,
And I'm gonna say the list was, I'm not saying it was long, it was probably 15, 20 addresses. And then I gave him 4 or 5 more, and he's already done, like, they're flying. But I don't know if it's because they waited till this time of year, and I don't know, but they've done a phenomenal job.
Awesome.
This frost, yeah.
Bob Shine's done a phenomenal job of writing down each, I mean, sometimes they pour 3 sidewalks at once.
yeah.
And he knows I need it broken down, he writes down, he's now writing down every sidewalk, how many yards, breaking it down in the ticket for me, Bob's been phenomenal, so I can't say anything but good things.
Great.
That's awesome.
Budget questions? Sorry. I distracted us again. I apologize.
I'm sure Tom told you that the tree list is caught up, our personal tree list. Hallelujah, it hasn't happened in, I don't know. how long.
Somebody ought to get an award for that.
The tree crew, Rob, I get the most complimental calls on Rob and Ty and the tree crew about how good of a job they do and how.
wait a minute, I'm 8 years old, I brought him up, I showed him.
That's great.
If I could have 7 more Robs, I could.
There might be someone in
He's
this room that might
not
take
coaching
us
right now, so he's got a lot of free
He
time.
does have a lot of free time. But yes, that, and so that's been a tremendous help on the phone calls.
Please share our appreciation.
Yeah.
For your whole department.
Positive year, a really positive year.
Yes, I think DPW's had a good year with the building being done and.
Yep.
And
I can't tell you how many people have just
Everybody talks about
gone
that.
crazy about the building.
it's much better.
It is just.
And the guys, I'll say, the guys took a lot of pride in it. They
Yeah.
wanted to make sure they did a good job. Dean did a great job. They really did want to make.
We get that roof on and get the inside taken care of, and it'll be a brand new building.
That's something we gotta, you know, we gotta talk about, you know, tonight, there's not tonight, but we gotta talk about the roof. We have to spend a few bucks. Last year, we took the $10,000 off the to repair the roof because we didn't know where we were gonna be,
Right,
and,
right.
I mean.
Times they do a change, yes.
Time to change. And if you do get a chance to drive around, Mark and a couple of his guys just clean the whole back behind the building out. I mean, all the crap and weeds and junk are gone. They took some of the millings that we used, the millings from this past asphalt year, and they put all the millings down, and so now there's parking spots for the trucks. Today they just put over by the gas pumps, they tore a lot of trees and crap down. Millings over there for the dumpster, so it's looking pretty good.
Is the repair on the roof that you're talking about in this year?
It's not in the budget because we didn't know where we
There's
we
gonna
were
be.
told to cut, and
Right.
I tried to cut and then add. Yeah. So we.
I believe it's gonna be something that's
Right.
a larger project, I'm not sure what
We're
it's.
gonna, you know, we're gonna more citywide rather than department. We're gonna try and look at routes.
Okay.
You guys have done a great job. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
If you look at this
Mhm.
exhibit, overall, the city budget's down 600,000, and almost half of that is from
DPW. Yeah.
because in addition to public works, they have the largest share of the parks and recreation budget as well.
Right.
So, hats off.
Yes, we all know. Yeah,
You
we
have
all
to
know.
agree with me.
All right.
I am pretty, I will say, I am a stickler, like, they know, they're pretty good though, they don't ask for enormous things, they know to ask me first, and if it's something that I feel that they need or that I'm willing to fight for, I will. If it's something, I mean, Kevin asked me for a couple things this year that I was like, Kevin, not gonna happen, like, I don't think that, I'd rather you get this, this, and this than this. And I'll say, you know, we have this much to work with, let's do these 6 things instead of this 1 thing. And he's like, oh, okay, you're right. Or he came to me with a couple things that he wanted next year, and I go, let's do them right now. There's money there right now, get them right now.
We just
We
bought
just
some
did those, backup cameras for the Bobcats, and,
That's awesome.
which they were very, the guys came to us and said it's a safety thing, we
Sure it is.
feel more safe. And Tom said, I agree, I said, I agree, let's get it. So we try to do it that way, we work, it's been great, working with Tom, I think the camaraderie's been good, I think things are going good.
Yeah, you can tell. It's a very nice, very, very
They're
nice.
starting to take pride in their work, let's put it that way, it seems like.
Well, they should.
I agree.
I mean, the crew is a small crew and doing a lot of different things and trying to do them all well, so
It's taken a while to teach them though that, wouldn't you want to do a good job, so you get compliments as opposed to doing it.
Screaming at you when
Have
you show
It's
up.
a lot easier to complain than it
Get
is
it
to
done right
get
the first time?
compliments.
Yeah.
I do I had mentioned this, but you brought up the stadium. I noticed we had quite a bit of savings from the lighting, and I don't know if that is because of
That's a Mike question, because he asked me and I don't know.
COVID, or is it because of,
It's a combination of the new lights and Brendan Bernard paying a big chunk of the bill.
okay. All right.
Which are both good things.
But,
Yeah.
so he's
What's he
paying,
paying off?
he's paying it directly, or is he paying us and we're paying?
No, because I don't know how it's broken down in the bill, but the National Grid bills are coming out of there, but I don't know if they're taking a portion of it off and giving it to him, and they're just paying a portion, I'm not sure how it works in the controller's office, because they pay.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay, because I mean, it's like huge.
Oh, new
Well, there
lights,
wasn't-
they hadn't been replaced yet.
Nothing
Yeah,
paid.
there wasn't
They have nothing
much
there,
going
so.
on there.
They didn't turn them on all summer.
No,
Right,
yeah,
that's also true.
That's true too.
Sorry, we were-
Well, that was my question, is like, all right, well.
Combination of that.
Yeah, but I will say this, I know in, and going to streetlights, and I'm sure you guys don't do this, but we're in the process of buying the streetlights and turning them over to LEDs, and, you know, at some point in time, once we get that done and that happens, we're gonna see a savings there that I would like us to consider taking that and, not keeping the budget the same. If we're spending $300,000 for streetlights this year, and next year we see the savings of $50,000, I would like us to still budget 300 So at some point in time, and create a reserve account, so at some point in time, when they don't work anymore, we can replace them and not go out and bond for them, because it will be a significant cost to us, or to future councils down the road. And it would be nice to have the futures council not worry about replacing all these items if there's a reserve account set up specifically for streetlights. So, we're not, I mean, I don't think we're there yet, but I just want us to start thinking about that happening, because we did that with the football field over at the school district. We created a reserve account for the football field because we knew it was going to need to be replaced. And so there is a chunk of money sitting, waiting to use.
For the new turf?
For the new turf. So it's not all coming directly from, the taxpayers and things like that. So I want us to start thinking about stuff like that, because that's what we're doing. That's the reason why we're doing these things, is to save money and also to be prudent, so that down the road, a future council and mayor don't have to come up with a huge amount of money to replace these lights, because they're all gonna go at the same time, because they're all being put in at the same time. So that's gonna be a huge expense, and I think it would be,
Anywhere from 20 to 30 years down the road, and the truth is that they say the lights should make it 30 years, but they really don't know.
Right.
I
They
just
haven't
want
had
us,
30 years that they've had those lights yet, so they don't honestly know.
so it's something to think about when we get the lights put in and it does start to show a savings, they're there. Maybe it won't be our time, maybe it'll be the next council's time, but somebody should do that. So, alright, that's it. For me.
The only thing, I don't know if Mike mentioned this before we got here, is, the mayor, Mike and myself met with youth hockey, and they are helping with some of the, if you look out on the pages, I don't have my great glasses on, the rec center,
7145 is the
carry,
ice rink.
individual line item Siemens and the alarm and that stuff. They are helping us out with that startup of that this year. So I don't know if Mike.
Oh, they did agree, huh?
They agreed to help out and, because there's like 40,000 before personnel and.
Did you guys do the roof work, or that's?
Contracted out.
The roof is done.
What exactly was done? Was it replaced, or was it?
It wasn't replaced, but it was a total 3-coat
Okay.
something. And of course, the first rainstorm, it leaked like a sieve. But they came back, and they've come back, and they've come back, and I guess Steve called me today to see if we had the final say on paying the bill yet or not, but I'm not technically, I don't know what the actual.
I was in there today, and you couldn't tell if it was wet in there because of
It's,
just the temperatures.
Temperature.
Or
I think it's the temperature,
Yeah.
because I've been going in every night and checking on it, because they're only supposed to be doing skills,
Yeah.
which they are, so.
Anything else?
Thank you for all your
Thank you
efforts.
guys very,
Thanks
very
very
much.
much.
So Tuesday, we'll be setting a public hearing for the following first meeting in November and adopting the budget at that meeting. And
With no changes.
we will be one council cycle ahead
Yep.
of where we usually are, so.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you're,
Can Tuesday also, you put a motion so we can go into executive session and
Yeah.
discuss?
Right.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have anything else you want to talk about, or did you?